Truth is, mate, I don't know where we are.
Any chance the others are trying to regroup like us?
Oh, I doubt it. Both trucks were hit by shells, you saw it. Just pot luck without taking a piss.
My film, Quiet, is about a group of British soldiers in the Second World War who have scrambled into a nearby forest for safety and protection from the German army, and have dug in and are hiding there, trying to seek shelter from whatever the German army may throw at them. The idea for my film I'd come up with probably 2 years before year 12 and doing it as part of media. My granddad served in the Second World War in the British Army, and I never got to meet my granddad, but through stories that he'd told. Kind of my interest that was developing in the Second World War, and as well as my family, kind of moulded into this idea to tell a story kind of based on his experiences, but also based on other stories I'd heard in war books or war movies or whatever. So it was a kind of a mashup of a few things. But I was keen to tell an emotional story, and I'd been thinking about that for a long time. And when I developed this interest in the war side of it, I kind of thought, why not tell an emotional story through that? When I was developing the idea, I first of all asked a lot of questions of my dad especially. So my dad was in the army as well, and he'd created this bond with my grandfather, and both being servicemen, they felt they could talk to each other about things that they wouldn't talk to other people about. So I asked a lot of questions of my dad and my mum, stories that he'd told, and I wrote down heaps of things, did heaps of internet research on his unit and what they got up to. There was also an old dictaphone recording that he'd done before he died, of just my mum asking questions of him and him giving answers on the war. So a bit of study of all these things was involved in the preparation. I kind of drafted a bit of a story, something that I wanted to achieve, not quite sure at that stage yet though. And after the research kind of fell into place, I kind of focused more on writing this story and getting it all down on paper. The pre-production of the film was probably a massive process, and I think it was probably the biggest process of the lot. So first of all, I had to scout for a location that would be like European looking. So the thing that I had in mind for that was a pine plantation or a pine forest, all over Europe, because the paddocks or whatever around Australia looked just too Australian. So I thought I wanted something really believable. So I knew of a pine plantation which is up in the Otways, about a 15-minute drive from me down Western Victoria, and me and my dad drove to the spot where I was pretty sure I was going to film, and the whole place had just been logged a couple of weeks earlier. And I thought, that's it. How am I going to find a pine plantation nearby? So I was really stressed out then. What I did do then was I jumped on Google Earth, and I just looked at the surrounding countryside around me, and I quickly found out that I could distinguish between the bushland and the pine plantation due to the colour. The pines were really dark green and the bushland was a kind of lighter shade. So I kind of picked a dark green patch, and me and my dad drove there a couple of days after, and sure enough we found this awesome pine plantation. It was on a lady's property out at Wensleydale, and she was so happy to have us all on board. The other thing I had to sort out was uniforms and equipment and period correct authentic gear and everything. So I'd known a few people that were part of a reenactment group in Geelong, and me and my dad knew a few of those guys, and contacted a few of them, and they were more than happy as well to help out by supplying their things and also being extras in the film. So so I'd sorted out the location, the gear, them being reenactors and licensed firearms owners, they all had their own weapons as well. So they were happy to bring those along. The other part I had to do was notify emergency services in case someone rang up hearing all this gunfire and thinking there was a war going on down the road. Once that was organised, I had to sort out catering. Luckily my mum and my family was all on board with that, so that was all well done. And I had to organise directions to the location. Luckily, mostly everyone was from Geelong, which was only about a 20 to 25 minute drive away, so that was all not too bad in terms of transport.
Stay alert!
5 P's. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. That's what my dad always says to me when it comes to organising something like that. The most important part is your logistics and organising things. So once you've got absolutely every detail mapped out, your day of filming, your principal photography will go down without a hitch if all of your preparation's been done well. So I think the planning in terms of your location, your transport, your food, your costuming, your makeup, if that's all properly organised and confirmed, then fingers crossed things will go fine on the day, the most important day. The shooting of the film, I think I did it on the 18th of June on a Saturday morning. We got on site pretty early at about 5 o'clock because I knew that I had to start shooting as soon as the daylight, as soon as the sun rose, and just to get the most out of the day. We got down to the location pretty early and we had to set up a few things like a marquee for people to sit and have their lunch and whatever and do it in makeup and uniforms. And everyone started arriving a couple of hours after that. So by the time the sun had properly rose, I had them all in costume and makeup on and weapons ready to go and everything. Gave a bit of a safety brief, and I think we were kind of on set filming by about 9:30 in the morning. I first of all thought that the big part of the day was probably going to be the big battle scene, and that was kind of stressing me out a bit. I was at the start of we got a bit behind schedule, and I kind of thought, oh no, bitten off way more than I can chew. I'm not going to be able to get this done. But I think just luck was on my side, and we got the bulk of the film done by midday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So had a bit of a lunch break and pushed on, finished the film by about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I knew that I had to, of course, make a rough cut of the film. First of all, put all the footage together in the order that I wanted. I wanted to achieve a certain look with the footage by putting a colour grade on it. The colour grade that I was kind of looking for was called a bleach bypass effect, and they'd used it on the movies Saving Private Ryan and the Band of Brothers TV show. Just kind of really washed out look, slightly on the cooler side of colours, but also pretty bleak and representing kind of the European winter and everything. Then there was a few things in the battle scene that we had to touch up. Mostly all the weapons that we've been using on the day were blank firing, so in terms of the bangs and the smoke and everything, that was already there, no editing needed. I did have to add in a few battle sounds as well, just to create more of an atmosphere, and a few muzzle flashes from the guns in the background, just to give it more of a busy look to the frame. So once that had been done, I chucked a few music tracks over the top. I had a bit of a look around for music that I was after, and kind of decided that probably original stuff would be the best to go with. So my dad was a bit of a gun on the piano, and he kind of made up a bit of a tune which features at the end of Quiet. So I kind of put those in, put a bit of a kind of an eerie drum beat at the start in the introduction, and a few credits, and I was pretty much good to go, I think.
My fellow, Erika. Erika, my fellow.
I would definitely say be bold, realistic, but still be bold. There's a lot of people kind of say, are you sure you can, you want to be doing that? And if you know in your heart that this is a project that you really want to do, as long as it's within reach, definitely go for it. Don't hold back, because you'll probably guaranteed to come out with something that you'll be really proud of, and at the end of the thing, and it's all going towards your overall development in year 12. So if it's something that you love doing, just go for it.